Hey, welcome everybody. Good morning and welcome to our weekly show. We call it Three Broke Guys Handicapping, where we review one of the top racing cars from around the United States. We will select a four-race sequence from that track and attempt to come to a consensus on a pick four ticket. Thank you for joining us. It's week number 30 of the racing season, and it's going to find us right back where we left off last week. It's at beautiful and historic Saratoga racetrack in Saratoga Springs, New York. The pick four starts in race number 8. It ends in race number 11, and 3 of those are stakes races this morning. My name is Rich Sharp, and each week I'm going to be joined by my friends and racing analysts. I can't hear if he's just joined me here, so I am going to let you know that my friend Ray Torado, who is from Staten Island, is going to be joining us. But right now he's getting here to the show.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, excuse me. There you are. So Ray, folks, he's a mere 197 miles south of Saratoga Springs, New York. Here he sits in Staten Island, New York. It's home to the Staten Island Ferry, the Staten Island Zoo, and it's got our East Coast handicapper there. His name is Ray Torado. Ray, I know you're a little bit under the weather this morning, but how are you doing, my friend?
Yeah, how you doing? I woke up here with a slight voice hit, so please forgive me, but I'll try and make it through. Allergies are this time of year kills me. But anyways, Saratoga, yeah, about 200 miles away. I'm dying to go up there for a couple of days during the meet, so I'm very excited.
I bet you are. All right. Well, you know what? Just not on the other side of the country here. 52 miles north of Del Mar, California, is where our West Coast handicapper. He is from Temecula, California, and in case you can't tell by the smile, Joe English has already been to Del Mar twice this meet. Joe, if I'm not mistaken, at this pace, you will make approximately 12 visits to where the surf meets the turf. And unless we start hitting these pick fours, you're going to be sleeping in my guest room. How you doing today?
My wife and you are older friends than we are, so I don't even know if my wife would allow me to sleep in your guest room, to be honest with you. But other than that, I'm doing fine. And if I make 12 trips, there's a good possibility that I would be in your guest room for sure.
All right. Well, before I get into our racing action, I actually have a special program note today. Joe and I were actually at Del Mar yesterday. We made some new friends. And to Joe Curry and to Steve Thompson and to Nick Tomorrow, good luck today in Del Mar's Breeders' Cup Betting Challenge. You've got 2 new friends and 2 new fans, I would say. And very shortly, you're going to have a third one here once we tell Ray our story of yesterday and things like that. So knock them dead at the BCBC today, guys. Good luck.
All right, good luck.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Gentlemen, I haven't hit you with a trivia question here in now a few weeks, but I actually have something for you today because we've discussed the topic of forgiveness all year long. All right. So in regards to the disappointing performance, and really quite possibly one of the most disappointing performances we've seen in some time by Arrogate in last week's San Diego Handicap. All right. I want to know, you guys, is it forgive and forget, or was that something more? And Ray, I'm going to ask you first. What do you think about Arrogate? And is he still the super horse that we all thought he was, and that was just a clunker? Or is there something wrong there?
As I watched the race down the backstretch, he looked comfortable, and he started to gallop a little stronger around the 6 furlong, at 6 furlongs. And as they reached the top of the stretch, he kind of he went out a little bit, and he just, I don't know, he kind of refused to change leads because when Smith hit him, he changed leads and that was it. He just gave it up. So, I just think he probably just, I would forgive the race. I mean, he's not done yet.
Mr. English, over to you. If I had given you all the money in the world and told you could bet Arrogate to not hit the board last week in the San Diego Handicap, what do you think? Forgive and forget, or was that something more?
I've seen it too many times where horses throw in a bad one and they come back. I want to say better than ever because he was damn good in Dubai, and obviously we saw what he did at the Travers. So I'm inclined like Ray. I'm going to forgive it. I'm going to be wary of it. I mean, the thing about the next race, the Pacific Classic, is that it's weight for age. So he's not going to have to give weight to those horses, and I've got to trust the connections. If something was wrong, Bob would have known, Mike would have known, and they wouldn't even be pointing for this race if there was a problem. So I'm going to be one of those ones who are willing to forgive and forget that one spot.
All right. Okay, folks. Last week was Saratoga and Del Mar as we decided to play two. It didn't matter. We did not hit either of our pick four. So far we are 0 for 8 so far in the second half of the year. And just a program reminder for those of you, I haven't gotten the second show up, but actually today is yet another doubleheader. So not only will be covering the Saratoga card, but later on tonight, come back tonight at 9 o'clock Pacific time. We'll be back to cover tomorrow's the Haskell card for Monmouth Park. All right.
Day-night doubleheader.
There you go. All right.
Yeah.
Time for a brief weather update from Saratoga Springs, New York. The forecast for Saturday calls for partly to mostly cloudy, high near 75 degrees, winds at about 10 to 15 miles an hour, and most important of all, there is a 0% chance of rain. Sounds like a wonderful day for racing in Saratoga.
0%? That's amazing up there.
I had to double check it myself.
0%, yeah.
A total of
0%.
11 races. 4 stakes on tap for Saturday. For today, we are focused on the pick 4, beginning in race number 8, concluding in race number 11. Gentlemen, the gates are locked and loaded, the outriders are clear, and the starter is ready to pop the gate. It's pick 4 post time.
Okay, let's go.
Let's go.
Race number 8, approximate post time is 5:02 p.m. Eastern, and I am not aware if there's a guarantee in today's pick 4. 6 furlongs on the main track. It is the Alfred G. Vanderbilt Handicap. It's a grade 1. The purse is $350,000. It's a handicap for 3-year-olds and upward. 8 starters, and your morning line favorite at 5-2 is in post number 4. It's the defending champion, AP Indian, trained by Arnold Delacour and ridden by Joe Bravo. Guys, the race used to be run as the Phenomenon Handicap prior to 2000. Year in and year out, it draws the finest sprinters in the country, and that included one of my favorite of all time, Speightstown, who owns the track record at a sizzling 108-4. Ray, the defending champion, is back to defend his title this year. Who do you like in the Vanderbilt?
Yeah, and in this race, there's some good horses here. It's very, very evenly matched up. I'm gonna lean towards the number 8, Limousine Liberal. He seems to be in better form than all of these. He's the winner of the last 3. We got Jose Ortiz back on board. He won on Derby Day. 9 races at the distance. He got 3 wins in 4 seconds. He's been exacted 7 times. I think he can sit right behind the leaders and run late. He's got a little more kick on the wet surface, but we'll have to deal with that today. But I think he can still handle these. We have a very speedy horse here, number 3, El Dio. He's one of his last 2 also. And he's got a lot of speed here. For the first half mile, he could be solid. And, who knows? He could, open up on this field and, break away. And it's just a matter of who'll be coming. Castellano's going to try and save his speed for the end. But he's a winning machine, like we say. 15 races, 8 wins. 10 races at the distance, 6 wins at the distance. So he's pretty solid at the distance. So, this race he'll be formidable. My third choice is number 4, AP Indian. I did go 4 deep here, by the way. He's winners of last year's Vanderbilt. But for some reason, 7 years old, they have a lighter schedule with him. He wasn't pointed to the Belmont Sprint Championship. 2 seconds. He got good works with Fairhill. I don't think he might have lost a step here. I think. He should have won at least one of those races. At least he should have probably won the Pimlico race, because after one race, and if he come in second, he was on the lead, to get caught like that. So I know Whitmore's a great horse, I know, but he should have been a little more solid in that race. So I think a little lost step. I put him as my third choice here. I'm going to a horse here, number 5, Birdsong. He's coming back in distance. A few. I was watching yesterday. Leduca and Gabby Gayet. They were talking about this race, and they kind of like this horse. Got some talent. Been winning some tough route races. The House Hope, Fred Hooper, the Ben Ali, and he won the Alashiba in the front end. So this horse can stalk and get up there. This is not his distance, but they're trying to cut him back. So most likely 7 furlongs is the goal. Maybe the 4 goal down the road, but he'll be coming. So those are my 4 horses there. Had the 8, the 3, the 4, and the 5. Joe, who you like in the Vanderbilt? You like AP Indian?
It's funny. It's a good race. Rich was talking about some of the best sprinters in the country, and it's a good weekend for sprinters because tomorrow, well, actually today, they're running the Pat. Is it not the Pat O'Brien? I can't remember the name of the race, unfortunately. At Delmar, and Drifong is running against Roy H. And there's another horse whose name escapes me at the moment. But it's going to be a good race. Maybe this will be a sort of a preview weekend for the Breeders' Cup Sprint down the road. If anybody, if nobody else comes from out of the woodwork, if these are really the best of the best, maybe we'll see somebody else come from nowhere to try and join these runners today. I'm actually on the same horse as you, Ray. I like Limousine Liberal. I think I think you're right. I think El Deal is going to be on the lead. And it's amazing. I was just looking at Castellanos' number. I can't believe Javier Castellano is 1 for 31 at Saratoga, or at least was up until the printing of these forms. That's incredible for a jockey as talented as he is, and it shows you the depth at Saratoga. It could be, and guys like Johnny V, Jose Ortiz, Arad Ortiz, Saez. They're all great riders, and yet he's only 1 for 31. That's obviously that's a tangent, though. El Deal will be on the lead, and I think unfortunately Green Grotto is going to be is the other horse who's going to press El Deal. I don't know that we really know how good El Deal is. He ran fourth in the Mr. Prospector down in Florida in his only other try against graded sprinters, and now he's trying a grade 1. I can see him being in front for 4 furlongs. But after that, it's a dicey situation. Again, I understand he's 8-15 lifetime, but hasn't been facing this kind of horse. And in the races that he has, he's been up the track when the money's been on the line. So I think the El Deal Green Grotto duel sets it up for the horses that are going to be just off the pace. And I like the 2. I like the 8 Limousine Liberal. The one thing that concerns me about Limousine Liberal is if you look at his PPs. He's got 6 wins. They're all in the state of Kentucky. He has never won outside of the state of Kentucky. He's won four times at Churchill, 1 at Ellis Park, and 1 at Keeneland. So he needs to learn to take his act on the road if he's going to win. So it's a tepid endorsement on my part. The other horse I like Ray was talking about, is AP Indian. Yes, he may have lost a step. So he may not be as good as he was last year. But I think in this spot, I think he likes Saratoga. He's won twice over the track, like Ray was talking about it, including the race last year. I want to say the only grade 1 winner in the field. I'm not 100% sure of that, again, because it's 5:30 in the morning and we were out with the contest handicappers late last night. So I want to say he's the only grade 1 winner in the field, and there's always that edict that grade 1 races are won by grade 1 horses, and until somebody does it, you've got to beat the horses that have done it. So to me, it's the 8 and the 4 on my top line. I will talk about another horse in my pick 4 segment coming up later. I will add my B horse to the mix, but it's the 8 and the 4 on the top line for me, with a slight lean towards Limousine Liberal as my top choice. And I see Rich is going to make it a consensus for us. So Rich, is there anything else you need to add about Limousine Liberal that we haven't already said?
No, there really isn't. You see the check mark there. He's won 3 in a row. I'm a little concerned about the fact that 2 of those were on, the wet stuff or the sloppy, and the fact that Joe brought up that he's not the best traveling horse. He didn't travel very well out here to California either. Then again, he's a sprinter, and California can be tough on the sprinters. But he did get my check mark. Jose Ortiz, Ben Corbrook. I'll go ahead and put my money on those. I could not. I wanted to toss the favorite. I really was trying to get around him. I was trying to choose between the 4 and the 3. I really do love Jorge Navarro. When he gets a good speed horse, be careful. I just thought that maybe this class test might be a little bit more than what El Deal is ready for, especially with AP Indian right on the outside of him. He has not been that off this year. Obviously, the 2 seconds, and as Ray alluded to, one of those seconds was to a horse named Whitmore, who just came and got him at the end. So I did like AP Indian here. If I was going to go 3 deep into that, I probably would throw El Deal in there just because of my Jorge Navarro preference. So I just went 8-4 on my top line. Joe, I believe you just went 8-4 on your top line. And Ray, you've got 8 and then 3, 4, 5 on your top line.
Yeah.
All right. And I will come on back to you guys, and we'll be moving on. Hey. Good morning, everybody. And we are moving along to race number 9. This is the Bowling Green Stakes. They are going 1.16 miles on the inner turf. It is a grade 2. The purse is $250,000 for 4-year-olds and upward. 7 starters, and your morning line favorite is in post number 7. It's Ascend, trained by Graham Motion and ridden by Jose Ortiz. He is 8-5 on the Saratoga morning line. Named for the area of the lower tip of Manhattan Island, the Bowling Green was raced at Aqueduct Racetrack from 1963 to 1967 before moving to Belmont Park. In 2015, the New York Racing Association moved the Bowling Green to Saratoga. Joe, if you look at this race on paper, he's right up there with Beach Patrol as the most successful 3 broke guys angle of all time. Ascend scored at 28-1 to take a G1 in his last race. He can't qualify on our 3 broke guys angle anymore, but how about on class now?
Yeah, it's an interesting paradox with Ascend. I wasn't sure what to do with him exactly. I usually when you win one race, okay, great. I want to generally see you do it again before I anoint you any kind of superior animal, because and unfortunately, a lot of times the race that he won is not one of them. Sometimes you'll see, well, there are grade 1s that are really grade 1s because of the quality of the competition, and some that are not grade 1s because the competition isn't necessarily all that fantastic. The race he comes out of was a good race. I remember we handicapped it, and he was 28-1, and he was a long shot that day. And maybe Jose Ortiz woke him up. I'm not, like I said, I'm not 100% sure what to do with him. I wasn't 100% sure what to do with him. He's not on my top line, believe it or not. I went with the Monmouth shipper, the rail horse, Bigger Picture. Second time Joe Bravo, who won the United Nations on this horse last time out from Mike Maker. And what we generally like to do here is, well, look, how close was he? He's close. He's within 2 lengths of being undefeated this year. 1.5 lengths in the Elkhorn at Keeneland, and 3/4 of a length behind Wake Forest, Patterson Cross, and Reporting Star in the Macdamita, which is also a race I think we talked about earlier this year.
Yes, we did.
So he gets the rail. He's fit. This is what he does. Again, multiple graded stakes winner. He also won a grade 1 last time out for his first grade 1 score. So I guess you could say the same thing about him and Ascend. Is like, do we really know, are they really grade 1 horses or not? The one thing I like about this horse is that, well, he's a winner. 10 for 25. You cannot argue with that record. He goes to the post. He gets the job done. It's ironic that Jose Ortiz was riding him before, and then Joe Bravo gets on. So it's if anybody knows Bigger Picture, it's going to be Jose Ortiz, who's on Ascend. But again, Bigger Picture will get to save ground. He'll come running late. I don't think. Obviously, I'm assuming he's going to be a little bit better prepared for this spot. I like Mike Maker as a trainer, and Joe Bravo obviously can win big races. It doesn't matter whether it's Saratoga or Monmouth, even though he's Jersey Joe Bravo for a reason. He cut his teeth at Monmouth, but I think Bigger Picture was my top choice. The other choice I have on my top line is a horse we've been following, and a horse I actually wanted to bet and hoped would run in the Woodford Reserve Turf Classic at Churchill Downs on Derby Day, and that's the 4, Sadler's Joy. Been following him. Obviously, was not going to beat Zukova in the rainy Man of War 2 starts back. Again, got beat by Ascend. Ascend got the jump on him in the Manhattan. But again, it's pretty amazing. You get Javier Castellano as a new rider, but obviously he's been on the horse before, broke the maiden, won the non-winners at 2 Lifetime with this horse at Aqueduct, so he knows him a little bit. Mike Smith generally was, I guess, was a little bit more patient last time, but you see 6 wide, but that's just a fun. He's always 6 wide. You see 6 wide upper, 5 wide upper. That's just the way he runs. This small. And the thing about it is, I don't expect him to be 6 wide because obviously this is only a 7-horse field. I think Castellano will work out a trip here with this horse. He may not. He may be one of those horses that's a Florida special. You see the better races, or at least the stakes races that he's run better in, were both at Gulfstream Park. Obviously the McKnight and the Pan American. He hasn't been able to repeat that for him coming to the North, but I'm going to take a chance that he's going to rebound today. You'll get a better price on him today than others, so I went 1 and 4 bigger picture and Sadler's Joy in the Bowling Green as on my top line, and I'll mention the other 2 horses that I like a little bit again in our pick 4 segment. So I will hand it off to Ray. Ray, are there any outsiders, anybody who I haven't mentioned that you liked as part of your pick 4 in the Bowling Green?
Well, Joe, I'm on your 2 horses. So I do like the number 1, Big Picture. He's had a strong win in the United Nations to 10-1. I believe they broke the track record, 2:10-4. That's pretty fast. And you see that bid side figure 111. That's pretty strong. He does his best running on firm turf, which we will have today. And like you said, he likes to win 10 for 25. I mean, it's 40%. That's not bad. You get Joe Bravo, Maker. I think he gets them out, I guess, again because he won the Grade 1. So, Pearl teasers. Pretty much okay taking a cent because he won his stake race also. So, it'll be a good race, I do like this Salad Joy too. 4. He he's gonna like his 4-year-old return to Saratoga. He's a course. He like the course favors the late runners at times, and he won last year. He broke his bait in 12 furlongs, so he's comfortable with the surroundings up there, and that's important. On my end. And Castellano gets Castellano and Albatrani, and he'll work out a trip. He'll probably be in the mid pack and make a run. It's gonna be a jockey's race here, like they usually are at these distances. If you notice in the Manhattan, the Salad Joy, they were like crawling in front. I mean, 54-14, and they came on flying. So 35 for the last 3 furlongs. They're moving. So how can you close that pace? And just miss. So you're just a victim of the pace, and and they ran well. At the end. So I'll give him a chance. He's a good horse. Closing Bell. I like him number 3. I've been pretty fortunate with my horses lately at good prices, so I'm gonna stick with this angle. He showed a little more speed last time in the UN. He tied a bit. It's a good usable race. He went straight from claiming to Grade 1, so he didn't run so bad. I mean, at a big price, so he can pull off that race. Mine comes up here, Saratoga. He likes up here, so if you know that, I just noticed just now. This happened to notice he's been running like 2 miles and stuff. So the distance is no problem for him. So and I throw in a cent too for number 7, likely favorite here. He did win the Manhattan last time. It's 2 for 2 this year. But he picks up 8 pounds for that race, and he can come off the pace. He'll. I mean, he's on my 4th line. So as a favorite being 4th choice, I kind of I find him a little vulnerable. But he's like more like a cushion here to save you in case he breaks through and wins the race. So that's how I'll go here. I'll go to 1-4-3-7 in the Bowling Green. And I actually walk through Bowling Green every single day. So this name means a lot to me. At the Bowling Green Park, I walk through it right every day on my way from and to work. So, and it's funny, I used to actually bowl at Bowling on the Green. We used to always make fun that Bowling Green was bowling on the green, but that's a different place to stand on. But yeah, Bowling Green right there, middle in the Manhattan, right by the bowl. You can come see the bowl, which Mel Lynch made famous for the commercial. So that's downtown Manhattan for you. Rich, back to West Coast.
Yeah, and I really don't have very much to add on my actual picks because, as everybody has seen now, my check mark is on the same horse that you guys are. So I really like the 1 here in this race. I liked Bigger Picture, Mike Maker and Joe Bravo, real solid connection there. When you look here, unlike Ascend, he is not the 3 broke guys angle, right? Big Picture has been hitting at this level or better for quite some time, and as Joe caught in those 4 races, which again, look at the race rating for all 4 of these races here. Just 2 lanes separates him from being 4 for 4. So I did put the 1 on my top line. That is my top pick. As a matter of fact, I might single him because the only other horse that I actually liked in this race was the favorite Ascend, and I think I might be trying to get by him today. Not that there's nothing that this horse has done wrong. He's won 3 in a row. Again, one of the best 3 Broke Eye Angle horses that we've had so far since we started doing the show. Came from the allowance race to the stakes race, and then bang, Ray. I can't remember if it was you or Joe, but one of you had him on our ticket that day at 28 to 1. In that pick 4. So Ascend that's exactly what he's doing. He's ascending here at 5 years old, and he's on the up. And the Manhattan was a very highly thought of race and a very highly ranked race. And I don't see a whole lot of speed or pace in this race, but that he might not just do the exact same thing that he did the last time, which is to get first jump on the closers here on the turf on a day when it's not going to be soggy and things like that. And I feel like that's just going to give him a natural advantage. So I could not toss the favorite here. I've got the 1 and the 7 on my top line. But again, I'm thinking about a single here, and I'm looking for a single today. I'll give a plug for my name play, I guess, here, which is my favorite kind of tequila to put in my margaritas there at Del Mar is Don Julio. And I was really tempted to fire away here at Hello Don Julio simply for that reason. So I did just use the 1 and the 7 on my top line. I did not. You guys have heard me in previous races. I actually have been a Sadler's Joy person for quite some time. If you go back and look at our shows, I think Sadler's Joy has been my top pick in a few of these races. I really loved him down here during this sequence where he was hitting and things like that. And then for whatever reason now with the Man of War and the Manhattan, I've soured on him a little bit. I don't think he's going to get quite the pace that he needs to go ahead and make up the ground that he's going to need to make up in this one. So I went 1-7. Joe is 1-4, and Ray is 1, 4, 3, 7. Come on back to you guys.
Yeah, and Rich Ray was the one who had Ascend on that ticket.
All right,
I give him credit. It wasn't mine.
Thank you. I forgot.
There you go, sir.
That's a horse plays mine.
The only reason I know it's you is because I know it wasn't me.
Yeah, we always give credit.
I would have remembered had we hit the pick 4.
Heck, you know what though? Hey, if you want, you can always go back and watch the show on YouTube to confirm that it was him versus me.
All right, we are moving along to race number 10, going 1.125 miles. This is the Jim Dandy Stakes presented by Naira Bets. It's a grade 2. The purse is $600,000 for 3-year-olds only. 5 starters, and your morning line favorite is in post number 1. Always Dreaming by Todd Pletcher and ridden by John Velasquez comes in as your even money morning line favorite. All right, the horse is named in honor of the 3-year-old colt Jim Dandy, who won the 1930 Travers Stakes. He beat Triple Crown winner Gallant Fox that day. It was an upset for the ages as Jim Dandy went off at odds of 100 to 1 that day.
Ooh.
All right, Ray, kind of sounds like Jim Dandy was the keen ice of his day.
Jim Dandy.
Yeah, he dethroned a Triple Crown champion. What do you think of the current Derby champ's chances in the Jim Dandy?
You know, I don't know what to make of this race. You got 2 trainers here talking about the working his horses out. They're pointing to the Travers. They want them to be ready for this race. They're not cranking them up, but they think they're ready. It's like a chess game with these 2, Chad Brown and Tom Pletcher. That's what I think. And I'm gonna go with my gut that Always Dreaming, Derby winner. He lost. I must say that he lost last time. Just because of the 2-week turnaround. Because Pletcher likes to space his horses out, 6 weeks. And just because of his schedule, and the 2 weeks a little quick, he was in the race. Classic Empire turned to him, and he just had no response. And, Giant V just took care of him at the end. Forget about where he lost by, because, he didn't push him at the end. And I think, he's a good horse. He's probably one of the best of this crop, of this 3-year-old campaign. And I'm going to single Always Dreaming. I mean, I think I'm giving him a chance. I think he'll be able to, I watched today, actually yesterday, the Curlin Stakes, and Outplay went out there and, set a slow pace, 1.8 miles, and he drew away, late in the race on speed. So I think Giant V's going to try to ride like that. And I think for cloud computing, I think Chad Brown wants to Travers more then Pletcher wants the Travers. That's what I mean. This is my personal feeling, and I think he's gonna save cloud computing for the Travers, make him good. Well, he's cranked up, but I think Always Dreaming will get the jump on him and win this race, and they'll meet next time. That's my opinion. So I'm gonna single Always Dreaming. Joe, what do you think about Jim Dandy?
It's a real interesting spot, and it's funny because when you think about it, to me, it even is more interesting considering what happened to Arrogate last week. I think everybody in the world had conceded the Breeders' Cup Classic to Arrogate at this point. I mean, except maybe for Steve Asmussen and Gunrunners connections. I think everybody, at least domestically, had probably figured out Arrogate's, it's home track. He's from the West Coast. Baffert Smith. You can't argue that. But now that he's not the invincible horse that we all thought he was, I mean, not only is it that they're setting these horses up for the Travers, I would think they both have to have their designs on the Breeders' Cup Classic. Don't you agree?
Yeah.
I think there's got to be a longer term issue here. The problem I had was I couldn't find. I really was looking really hard to try and find somebody who could beat both of them in this spot. Because like you said, Ray, I don't think this is the big deal. I think this is the race to set them up for the Travers. And again, the rest of 2017. But unfortunately, I couldn't really find anybody to beat either one of the two. For whatever reason, I'm taking Cloud Computing because he beat Always Dreaming last time. Again, I guess he had some help. And unfortunately, it was that weekend, that Preakness weekend, it was one of those things where it was like, well, because I remember we handicapped the show and we were all over the Chad Brown horses that ran on the turf at Pimlico, but they didn't run. And Cloud Computing ended up winning it 13-1 on the dirt. I don't know. I just think it's Chad Brown's time. I mean, and this is not a knock on Pletcher. And the funny part was that Steve and Nick and Joe and Rich and I were talking about Chad Brown last night, and we were talking about his relationship with Bobby Frankel, and he learned from one of the greats, and obviously Frankel could train a turf horse as well, but he wasn't bad on the dirt either. I think Chad Brown really has taken over, and he's going to prove that he's probably the best trainer in the country, not named Bob Baffert, in short order, if he hasn't already. Again, I think this is a really interesting spot, and it would not surprise me, and I'll put this on record right now, it would not surprise me if neither of these horses won this race, which makes it interesting. I, as a handicapper, just could not figure out who the horse was that was going to beat them. Good Samaritan's been a turf horse for Mott. They're trying something on the dirt. I don't think he can't run on the dirt, but how good he is remains to be seen. Pavel is, Doug O'Neill is trying something with this guy, off a maiden win to run in the Jim Dandy grade 2 coming across country. Generally, the horses that run well off of big debuts have big speed figures and big pace figures, which this horse does not have. So he's questionable to me. And Giuseppe the Great is the horse I really was looking at, but he's never gone 2 turns before. I don't know how good he can be going 2 turns. He's out of a forestry mare, and that to me screams more sprint than 2 turns. So I will use the top 2 favorites on my top line to get through the race. But I really was hoping that somebody could beat both of them, because like I said, I don't think, and Ray even alluded to it, I don't think Chad Brown and Todd Pletcher are going to have these horses 100% cranked. And I thought if there was somebody else, and it's amazing, we'll get to the Haskell on the other show later tonight. That field is loaded, and I kind of wonder if one or two of the horses in that race were running in this race tomorrow or today, actually, now that I think about it. I probably could have gone in that direction. Unfortunately, because I had knocks on the other horses, I went 2-1 in that order for my picks for the show. Like I said, fascinating race, but made even more fascinating by Arrogate's stumble in the San Diego last week. So 2-1 for me, and I'll be watching this race with great interest, as I'm sure you both will too. So, Rich, I will hand it off to you. I saw where your check mark is. Any more information for us?
No, not really. Again, the top pair that Joe and Ray have already kind of documented for you there, cloud computing and always dreaming. I could not go beyond those two. I thought Doug O'Neill might be shipping over because the show money from a $600,000 race is better than what you can get at Del Mar if you have a good dirt horse these days. So I thought that always dreaming might be a little bit vulnerable here. Coming off the layoff, I did not particularly like the way he looked in the Preakness. I did not like the way that he kind of folded it up and backed out of it. So I thought he might hit some more speed in this race as well. Giuseppe the Great looks quick. Pavel is from the West Coast. We know which way he's going to go. So if he got the pressure that he got from Classic Empire, I wasn't sure if coming off the layoff that always dream might be a little bit vulnerable. And so I went with the closer here with Chad Brown, Javier Castellano, and that's where my check mark is. And I am not going to have a single this week, it looks like, because I'm actually going to use both of them. No, I'm not completely tossing out Always Dreaming there. So I've got the 1 and the 2 on my top line. I believe Ray's got the 1 and the 2 on his top line.
Just the 1.
No, just the one.
All right.
Oh, no, that one.
Taking a stand.
I have to. Yeah.
Joe's over there with. Joe's over here with me. He also has the 1 and the 2 on his top line.
I went so deep in the races. I gotta try and narrow it down. So
Keno ticket.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I've been espousing the virtues of the single, and I'll tell you.
If I get there, you never know.
Before we get to this pick 4, I'll let you know if I back out of it and check it out and go back to my singles because I do love those like that. But right now, I've actually got the 2 doubles there in the middle leg. So,
yeah.
All right, I am back, and we are moving on to what I like to think of as the handicapping leg of this pick 4 because the finale, as always, is going to be a pain. It is race number 11. It's going 1 mile and a 16th on the turf. It's a maiden special weight affair. Purse is $83,000 up to $14,940. New York State bred, New York State bred foaled or sired because, as we all know here, it pays to be New York bred. Trust me, I've got 2 of them on this show. For maidens, fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and upward, 11 starters, and your morning line favorite starts from post number 2. Durable Goods, trained by, where have we heard this name before? He is trained by Chad Brown. He's ridden by Jose Ortiz, 3-1 on the Saratoga morning line. Joe, what are the odds on that on a big day of a race, I would go 4 races before saying the name Chad Brown? And to not mention Javier Castellano on a favorite at Saratoga. Who do you like in the finale, sir?
I don't know what the odds on that. I also don't know that you're going to get 3-1 on Durable Goods. I'm fairly certain he's your most likely morning line. He's the morning line favorite, most likely favorite, and if you get anywhere to 2-1, you'd be pretty fortunate. I do like him on my top line, but he's not my top choice. I actually, and this is why I love Formulator, the DRF program for PPs. You get to delve and dig into some really good information. I'm on the 6. Freedom, which is obviously I think we're all for, but this to me was more a Bill Mott angle. The horse obviously ran well at Keeneland, and the horse was on the lead, came back again. Had lost the lead and had come back again to run a really close second at 3-2 in October. And normally I would say off that kind of layoff, not a chance, especially on the turf. But then I was looking at Bill Mott's statistics and I looked, it's funny because having watched Kevin Cox do it and he posts on his Twitter feed all the time about angles and stuff. And I was looking at horses that are laid off about this long for Bill Mott. And over the last 5 years, this is a pretty amazing statistic. 7 for 22 with a 3.42 ROI with horses that are laid off about 10 months. So, I mean, he gets Irad Ortiz, who's obviously off to a really good start, 26% at Saratoga. He's not going to not ride. He's going to ride good horses. He wants to win the riding title. Obviously, the biggest competition right now is his brother. Brotherly love, obviously. Mm-hmm. The horse, $650,000 Keeneland purchase. I would assume they want to make hay today. And I think today's the day. I think, like I said, this is a Mott specialty. And I think he's going to run, the buyer speed figures for his 2 races are lower than some of the others in this field. But like I said, I think this is a Mott specialty, and I'm going with him. The horse has been, if you look at all the workouts since since he started coming back into training, May 25th, they've all been at Saratoga. So he's comfortable here, she likes it here. She's comfortable here. She's run second here. She's run second twice in Kentucky. But I think today is the day that they're going to try and win and get this horse home. So I like Freedom, and I believe she's 5-1 on the morning line. And the other horse on my top line is the 2 Durable Goods. Has the highest buyer speed figure, as 80 from the maiden try at Belmont. She was marooned in post 13 of 13. Still came running under Jose Ortiz to run second at 10-1 that day. It's funny because we talk about Chad Brown and talking about all of his turf runners, and obviously he's deadly on the turf, and obviously he's running cloud computing. So maybe today's the day, sort of like the Preakness, where cloud computing wins on the turf, on the dirt, and his turf horses don't run as well on the turf. I don't know. The maidens, these are always really competitive races at Saratoga. So I went 6-2 in that order. I do have a couple of horses more that I will talk about when I do the pick 4 segment. So 6-2 for me. Freedom with Irad Ortiz over Durable Goods with Jose Ortiz. So it's a family affair at Saratoga. And speaking of family, I will send it off to my brother from another mother. Ray, who do you like in the finale?
All right. Yeah, I'm on the favorite. And also, he's my second choice too. I do like number 8, Magical Sky. He's pretty much of a connection, Classic Empire connection, Oxley and Mark Cassie. And yeah, he raced it June 22nd. Went up for 16-1. Ran a good race. He's closing, and we're gonna have LeBrew replacing Ruiz, and he was coming at a good mile, and he could improve second time race. I'm on the favorite Durable Goods. Second time his race. He was charging for home. He was caught in traffic, so people gonna see that they're just gonna jump all over him, especially with Chad Brown and the Cloud Computing Silks and Ortiz, and so they'll be the favorite. So those 2 horses I like, the 2 and the 8, 8 and 2, and I'll talk about the few horses later in the pick 4 segment. So for now, it's 8-2 for me. Joe Rich.
All right, into the finale last week. Yeah, last week in the finale from Saratoga, if I'm not mistaken, I played a full house. So we had 3 Chad Browns and 2 Christopher Clements in the finale, and I played them all. And so this week, I'm not going to play the full house, but I am going to go with 2 pair, which is just one down from there. And I will tell you that I would play the Chad Browns here. Again, after the conversation we had last night, even more of a man crush on the guy. So I like the 2 and the 3. Actually, I decided to go other Chad Brown here for my winner, going with Chad Brown, Javier Castellano. They connected together at a 23% rate. That last race was on the dirt. So even though you see him 12 lengths out of it, Elot actually went on to the Derby Trail, if I'm not mistaken. Elate, excuse me, and the first 2 tries there on the turf were absolutely fantastic. So, kind of coming off the layoff, Chad Brown, I decided to go other Chad Brown here, and I will take Wake Island as my top pick. No way I'm throwing out Durable Goods though. So I've got the 2 and the 3. And these last few weeks on our show have just espoused the wisdom of, making sure where Bill Mott's horses are as well. And what's nice here is that, the 2 pair is the 2 and the 3 and the 5 and the 6. I did like Freedom a lot. That was Joe's top pick. And again, even though the horse is coming off the layoff, showed speed at Keeneland going a mile. So we saw Bill Mott score just a couple of weeks back there at a big price. I actually threw in his first-time starter as well, just figuring, what is it that I know that Bill Mott doesn't? If he's putting both of his horses in, I'm not going to leave them both out. So I did use length. That's the first-time starter. If I had to pair one of these off, if I needed money and the budget's a little high, this is the horse that would probably get split and left out. So I do like Freedom a little bit. I like length. My top pick here is 3, Wake Island, but I also have 2, 5, 6 on my top line with the Keno ticket. I am going to come on back to you guys, and we'll get ready to move on to our next little segment here. And once again, I'll apologize to you. I don't actually have our ticket up there. I didn't get the individual tickets up there, but I'm going to turn this over to Ray and to Joe. They will go ahead and give you their individual pick 4 tickets for the Saratoga for the Jim Dandy card. In the meantime, I'll be in the background. I'm going to put together the 3 Broke Guys pick 4 ticket for you also. Joe and Ray, go ahead and take it away, sir.
Rich, I guess I'll go first. That's
go ahead.
Since normally Ray's the only one who's hit one of these in like forever. So I went 4 and 8, AP Indian and Limousine Liberal, with Limousine Liberal being my top choice. I did use another horse in this race, and it's not somebody you would think. I'm using. I guess this is back to the 3 Broke Guys angle. I used Ready for Rye, the 6. Tom Albertrani, Luis Saez. The horse likes rain, obviously 3 for 4 on the wet track, but the horse has been in the trifecta 9 of 10, even on the fast track. Ran 3rd in the fall high weight. And again, this is one of the horses I think might get a really nice trip. I don't think he's got to be on the lead. He's won stakes races before. He won the Swale back when he was 3. He's now 5. And a nod to the recently euthanized, unfortunately, City Zip as a sire. But this is second start off the layoff. I like Albertrani. The works are slow, but I think that's just the way he does it. I don't think this horse is any worse for wear. Again, I'm just looking for a long shot to throw in here. And I like the way I liked his last race. And I think Ready for Rye can actually run a good race at what I would assume to be a pretty big number behind AP Indian and Limousine Liberal. So if for whatever reason those 2 favorites don't run, Ready for Rye gets a nod for me, and he'll be on my pick 4 ticket. In the Bowling Green, I went I went with the 1 Bigger Picture and the 4 Sadler's Joy as my top 2 choices. My B selections are the favorite, the Morning Line horse Ascend. As we discussed earlier, Grand Motion and Jose Ortiz, 3 wins in a row, and recently won the Manhattan. Hopefully, I want to have him because if he can repeat that effort, he's in the mix for sure. But taking him at a short price for me is a little bit dicey. I also liked the O'Neill shipper for Mario Gutierrez, Frank Conversation, and the guys mentioned there's not necessarily all that much speed in this spot. And Frank Conversation likes to be up close. Mario Gutierrez and Doug O'Neill have been hot lately. Obviously, IRAP won I guess it was the Indiana Derby not that long ago. And obviously, Mario Gutierrez is shipping east for the weekend. He will be on the O'Neill charge. I can't remember the horse's name now. I believe he's got a runner in the Haskell tomorrow. That for whatever reason I'm missing. Either it's the Haskell or it's one of the undercut stakes. But Mario Gutierrez is here for the weekend. But again, Frank Conversation to me is a horse who's going to be closer to the lead. He might be on the lead turning for home. I'm assuming that would be the plan going into the race. So I went 1, 4, 2, 7 in that order of preference in the Bowling Green. I don't need to discuss much about the Jim Dandy. I talked pretty much at length about that. Cloud computing for over Always Dreaming for me, but using both. And I couldn't really go very much deeper. So I went 4 deep in the finale. Freedom was my top choice over Durable Goods. I also like the 10 Miss Maker for Mark Hennig. He doesn't necessarily win with first-time starters on the turf. 1 for 41 over the last 5 years. But I'm looking at the dam of this horse. Filmmaker was a 6-time graded winner who also won her turf debut. And Filmmaker won the Lake George back in 2003. So if there's any genetic material that actually transfers, okay, if the mom likes Saratoga, maybe the young ones will like Saratoga. This horse actually has a chance. She's 3-1 more. Not 3-1. 3-year-old for Mark Hennigan and Jose Alvarado. Who's off to a slow start at the meet, obviously 0 for 11. But again, this is more a pedigree play because Filmmaker was pretty damn tough on the turf. And the other horse I liked in this race was number 4, Fashion Week. again, and this is more again. It's a trainer. Shug McGahee, John Velasquez. Shug's horses are 6 for 34 over the last 30 days, so the barn has been waking up. Speightstown is a sneaky turf sire. I like the Bernardini mare on the underside, and to me, it's more a play of Shug McGahee running the horse off of 2 sprints on the dirt at Belmont. The horse got better in the last out, but I think today is really what they want to do with the horse. I think they figure the horse will be better on the turf, going a little longer. And this is a decent spot. I mean, people are gonna run their horses at Saratoga. So I went with the 6, 2, 10, 4, and I believe that would make my ticket 4 by 4 by 3, which would be actually by 2, obviously. So that would be a $48 play on my behalf in the Saratoga pick 4.
Who are you on in the opening leg there, Joe? I've got the 4 and the 8.
4, 8, and then the 6 was my B selection. Ready for I.
All right.
So 3 by 4 by 2 by 4, which would make it a $48 play, and I will hand it off to Ray. Ray, take it away.
All right. Yeah, I went deep also on the first leg. Went with 8 Limousine Liberal. He's on a winning streak, and we've been on his horse, and he's running well. And we're gonna go also with the speed horse number 3 El Dio, number 4 AP Indian, and 5 Birdsong on the turn back. Try to go 4 deep in this race. Try to get through. On the Bowling Green, I like Bigger Picture, number 1, as my top choice. We do like 4 Sal's Joy, Closing Bell, number 3. He's a priced horse there, so. And also 7 Ascend as a favorite. He should be able to repeat last race. He's more like you have these horses, put them in. But I'm really looking for the bigger price horses and the turf. Jim Dandy, I had to take a stand. I took a 1, Always Dreaming. I think the pace factor here, he's gonna probably be on the lead, and get to relax. And the cloud computer come late, and to see what happens down the stretch. I think he'll hold him off. The budget calls for 1 horse here, so I'm just going too deep here. In race 11, I got slowed him here. I got 2 Durable Goods, 8 Magical Sky, 11 Mini Pearl. This horse steps up off an even trip at Delaware, 15-1. I'm taking a shot. Florence Giroux. He's a good turf horse right. He could wake him up, make him improve a little better, and 8-1, not a bad price. He might even be higher than that, but I do like number 3 also, Wake Island, the other chap. And there's been 3 races, Money Burner, favorite. First time this year off a long layoff. He should run okay. I'll include him. Chad Brown's just hot, and I'll include your horse Joe, 6 Freedom. We'll put him in. We'll go 5 deep here. That'll make a $40 ticket. So I got the 2, the 8, the 11, the 3, and the 6. So that'll make it a $40 ticket for my pick 4. And that will be it. Wish us luck. Yeah, it's been a while to see that money's going down, down, down. So
yeah, good luck, gentlemen. But thank you for sharing your pick 4 tickets.
See what happens.
All right, well, there you go. You got a $40 ticket on one side. You got a $48 one. Don't mind these Del Mar Lions over here. This is Saratoga that we're playing today. I apologize for having to play catch-up for you guys today, but it for you.
I have pick 3s with cloud computing. You always have to save yourself. So
all right.
That's how it is.
Let me come on back to you, and I will take you on to the 3 Broke Guys pick 4 ticket. All right. Yeah.
But last week we had some good priced horses on our ticket. Just couldn't get that,
All right.
That second leg was.
Here we go. Into the opening leg. So the first one is the Vanderbilt. This is the stakes race. And we've got the 4 and the 8 on top. Let me see. The 8 is Ray's top pick, and that is also Joe's top pick. So we got those on the top. I believe the 4, Ray, you've got the 4 on your top line. Joe, you've also got the 4 on your top line. And if I'm not mistaken, the 4 made an appearance on my top line as well. So there's the favorite. We've got the 4 and the 8. You know what? I'm sorry. The 8 was also on my top line. So I like Limousine Liberal as well. Moving on to leg number 2 here. We have the 1, the 4, and the 7. Again, Ray and Joe and I all had the 1, I believe, as our top pick. You don't see that kind of camaraderie here on Three Broke Guys handicapping all that often. Let's see. The 4 is also on Joe and Ray's top line, and the 7 is on Ray's top line and is also on my top line. On to leg number 3. There really wasn't much discussion there. We could not separate those two favorites. Ray did. So for those of you who want to take a shot with Always Dreaming, he did split the favorites apart. But as a result of the fact that Joe and I both had the 2 on our top line, as a matter of fact, Joe and I both had Cloud Computing beating Always Dreaming. So we're going to use them both. We'll go 1-2. And again, in the handicapping leg, which is the last one, the maiden special favorite fair, for those of you who are watching, I would recommend that you go as deep as you can in that race. We have the 2, the 3, the 6, and the 8. So, Ray, the 8 is your top pick. Joe, I believe the 6 was your top pick, and both of you had the 2 on your top line as well. I had the 2 pairs, so I just had all the Chad Browns and all the Bill Motts. I had the 2, the 3, and the 5 and the 6, so I was able to match up the 2, the 3, and the 6 with you guys, and we also have the 8, which is, again, Ray's top pick. Got a $24 pick 4.
Sounds good.
All right. Let me just make sure I jot those numbers down. 4, 8 with 1, 4, 7. Oops. Got it.
You got it. All right. And as you hear Joe kind of mouthing to himself, it's 4, 8 with 1, 4, 7 with 1, 2 with 2, 3, 6, 8. And I'm going to go ahead and come back, and we are going to wrap it up. Again, for those of you who kind of follow our show, this is not the only broadcast of Three Broke Guys handicapping for the day. We are coming back tonight at 9 o'clock Pacific time. That's midnight East Coast for those of you night owls like my buddy Ray Torado. And we're going to be covering the Haskell card that is at Monmouth tomorrow. So back-to-back doubleheaders on Three Broke Guys handicapping.
Summer racing at its best, fellas.
Yeah.
All right. For those of you watching, if you enjoyed the show, we will be back next week because that's what the Three Broke Guys do. We're going to get together and take a look at another exciting card. We're going to have to discuss the possibility. We could be going for yet another doubleheader. Again, when it comes to the summer racing series, we end up at Del Mar or we end up at Saratoga. For right now, Del Mar is getting the top billing for next week, but don't count on that just being the only track we cover. Gentlemen, that's all the time we have for this morning. It's always a pleasure to handicap with the two of you.
Yes, it is. Always
fun talking horses with people who enjoy it as much as we do.
Absolutely. For Joe English and Ray Torado, I'm Rich Sharp. Good luck to Steve Thompson, to Joe Corey, and to Nick tomorrow at the BCBC today at Del Mar. Thank you for watching Three Broke Guys handicapping. Good luck. Good day.
Great day.
Great day.